Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Woohoo! We are having a party here, 175 episodes. Woo! Welcome, welcome. This is a huge day at USA Global TV and Radio. We want to thank you for joining us. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is Coexistence and Sustainability, and we're going to be looking at giraffes, or should I say, looking at giraffes. But first, Aminah has been with me since the very beginning. And for those of you who don't know, I actually met her on LinkedIn, and we have been working together for over 3 years, which really translates into 175 episodes. Can you imagine working remotely with someone from another part of the country and getting things done and providing world-class education? That's what Aminah does. She is not only a pet psychic, but she's also a coach. She's a trainer. She's a speaker. And she's someone who really has a beautiful heart and a beautiful spirit. And I've learned so much. The way this goes up, I've learned so much. I can't even keep it in my head. Let's welcome her to her celebratory show, 175 episodes.
Yay! For both of us, for the channel, for all of it. If everybody out there at some point either creates something, if it's a muffin or a paper or a school thing, and you just will all know we had our bumps, we learned from them, look at the graphics you've got now and just the professionalism you and I already had, and we just grew on that. So it doesn't start from nothing, but I say put a seed, guys. If you want to try something, if you want to get outside your own box, whatever's holding you back, just give it a try. Because I promise you, every time you make a mistake or something happens, Dr. Jacalyn and I could talk about the hair that goes a different direction. We both had hair and wardrobe problems, even on a video, and we just made it work. So I encourage everybody, get out there and try your dream.
Thank you for sharing that. You know what, Aminah, when we first started, we had a different name for the show. We had a couple of different backgrounds. One had animals, little pets that were behind us, and we had guests. And then from there, we evolved to no guests. And then we decided to change the title of the show because it was really much more than just pet psychic. It was coexistence and sustainability. And here we are today. So I really love what you shared. For anybody out there who's thinking of doing something and you've got all these fears and negative thoughts, if you don't walk through that door, you're never going to know. And as I mentioned, Am and I have never even met in person, and we connected on LinkedIn, and it was fate that we are here today.
Absolutely. And everybody should know, we've all had difficulties. We've all had, looks like fire. We all have had wardrobe problems. It just, you don't know what's going to happen. Get out there, give it a try. And guess what? Then you got the funniest stories at the next Christmas party.
That's very true. I love that. So today we're talking about giraffes. And as I mentioned to you backstage, I don't know a lot about giraffes. I've never seen them in the wild. I've only seen them in zoos, which always, I don't want to go into the story about a zoo. I understand we have to have zoos, but it breaks my heart when you see animals that are from the wild and then they're in cages or they're roaming around in a much smaller area. But that's another topic for another show. I did see that the giraffes are the tallest mammals. Is that accurate?
It is. They're friendly. If you're going to be, 12 feet, 6,000 feet, I haven't looked up on their height for this show, but it's a lot. It's a lot. and they use that neck literally as the way they punch you. They will knock you down, they will punch you, they will kick you. And if you've seen even a picture of their legs and their neck, that it just looks horribly painful. So I don't know how I'm going to stay on the ground a few feet out. I have pet one. I have seen them at events for children, which is really rare now. I'd love if somebody has looked it up and see if that's even legal to do in most parts of the United States. I don't know, because I don't see it anymore.
Well, it seems like they are out of Africa. That was a movie, actually. And they can be up to 18 feet tall. I mean,
Yep.
I'm 5'3", but I think I'm 5'2" now, but that's really tall. And I guess they can bend all the way down.
Yep, they can. And it's really fun because they can splay their legs out and get as close to the ground if they're going to get a nut or whatever. It's fabulous to see. They just go, whoop, and the neck goes down, picks up what they want, and they stand right back up. It's just amazing how their joints work and how this is. And I've always said this since I was a kid. When I didn't know something, I was so fascinated. Didn't know about, we didn't have the internet when I was a kid. I would just say, oh, that's a God question. I'm going to get there. Someday I'm going to get to ask somebody, why? Why does that happen?
It really is interesting. And, I haven't been on a safari. Have you?
No, I haven't. I looked into it with the girls when they were younger, and we were doing a lot of traveling. We did a Harry Potter tour. And actually, and been going, how you clean up the house? I'm cleaning up the photos right now, the real ones. And so I've got all these Harry Potter. And the tour was fabulous because it was all parents and families and aunts and uncles. We had an aunt brought her niece. And so it was just a children's thing. And AAA put it on. And you went to where it was all filmed. So you went to this church and that chapel and that wall and that Quidditch.
Yeah.
So you just don't know where your life's going to take you. And it's the same thing. I've not gotten to work with the giraffes directly, but I've been in so many care facilities for animals and that type of stuff that I have been lucky enough to be within chain link fence of that. And they're just magical. They're just magical. They know they're bigger than everybody. If they kick you, I promise it will hurt. And you might not be standing here. You might be over here by that time. So what we hope you get first and foremost is respect for every animal. I don't know what mosquitoes are supposed to be doing, but I really hate getting bitten. And I'm sure everybody does.
I've got 2 mosquito bites right now. I never even saw them coming. So you have to worry with all the, the diseases that they carry. But
absolutely.
I did read that there are certain birds that eat them. So I guess.
Oh my gosh, yes. And you're in the perfect part of the United States that they thrive because of the moisture.
Right.
And all they need is a good couple quarts of blood. Quarts, their version. This is their quarts.
But as we learned from you also before, is not to wear perfumes or anything
lotions that have perfume or any kind of scent in it. Man, you will feel like you just became the entire hive of honey and everybody's here to take part.
Exactly.
It's bad because in Alaska, they truly have the king size mosquitoes. I spent a whole summer in Alaska and I just eaten alive. And I didn't know about garlic. I don't know if you've tried it, but I did. Not too many people that slept around me in the tents and things really wanted me to be around. Because if you take a garlic, and I was taking the tablets and the real garlic, chewing on it, it does help with the mosquitoes. I don't know why. We taste bad. I don't know if that's a thing. No,
does it make your pore? Do you smell like it?
Yeah, and all my bedmates, all the people I stayed in my cabin with was like, "You really smell. Stop doing it." I said, "Yes, but I'm not itchy."
That's right. I don't have any bug bites.
Exactly.
I want to ask you what I was just mentioning before about the zoo. What are your thoughts about giraffes and other animals being taken from the wild and being put into zoos? And maybe there's a specific reason. Maybe they were injured, or maybe I don't know what the reasons are. But no, tell us more.
No, the way it started was, again, man-made. I want this. I want a lion in my background. I want the tiger. I want. Humanity has the corner on selfish desires and what they want. So all our animals, no matter if it's a bug, a spider, I mean, look at how much bug killer exists in any store that you go into that will carry any of that, a hardware store or a grocery store, if you're in a place that has a lot of that. And the first thing we're doing is we're putting out toxic chemicals that, first of all, we shouldn't be spraying on our body. And like bug spray, I can't imagine that's healthy. And sometimes it's necessary because you got all these bugs that are going to be chewing on you. So we need to rethink our coexistence. And that's what you and I, Dr. Jacalyn, have really morphed this next chapter as we work together, is really wanting to get that corner of saying, how do I go through it? Well, you don't want to get any kind of malaria, God help you, or all these things that bites from animals can give, and mosquitoes specifically. So we need to go in to something different. And I haven't talked about this in so long, I just realized that I have the surefire thing that is not Raid or any kind of chemical, because you wouldn't put that on your skin, but that's my example, because I don't know of any poisonous things that people put on their skin to keep the bugs off. I have been in Alaska for a whole summer and it was miserable with the mosquitoes everywhere. They literally buzzing in your face and all that. So Dr. Jacalyn, do you know what because this is usually marketed just to women. So I'm going to give you a couple tips. It's not makeup, but it could be in the same category if you stretch the rule a lot. But it's something that Avon sells.
Oh, Skin So Soft.
Yes.
Yes.
He knows about it because you're in mosquito land. I would think you would. And you could put it on a little cotton ball, put it wherever, you feel like, you're going to get the warmest. They're going to go for whatever blood they can get to fast. And I know for certain, because I kept this bottle around forever because I was doing a lot of stuff in places that had mosquitoes, and it works. They hate the stuff. And you just put it on a little cotton ball. Dab it wherever, like if my neck is exposed and I couldn't get a neck scarf or something, and my hands, of course, my arms are going to be exposed, and then it just washes off. Now you have to reapply it like anything, but it's far better than putting Raid on you or whatever's the equivalent in your area for bug spray and putting it on people, because you still got to spray it or you got to wipe it in. And it cannot possibly be good for your body to have those kind of chemicals. Skin So Soft is just oil with some smell. And for some reason, mosquitoes absolutely hate this stuff.
I think we talked before also about spraying anything. Mm-hmm. When I think of, I don't know what the spray was that your family would give you before you go camping, and like spray your skin with it and all kinds of chemicals. Yep. And I don't use sunscreen anymore because I'm allergic to it. Wow. So I'm all covered up and I don't really go out in the sun. But I do recall all this spray tan. And yes. Since I started working with you, I looked at the back. I was like, what are all these chemicals I'm spraying on my skin? It's terrible.
Well, and people, I think we forget, what am I eating? Am I eating healthy? Am I having my vegetables? And we've really come a long way from the 70s, 60s and everything going, we're going to have donuts and Twinkies and whatever else came over and coffee and donuts. I mean, I don't see that. I'm not in an office setting anymore. But when I was only about 5 to 7 years ago, I didn't see those boxes of donuts coming in that I did the jobs I had 10 years before. And it's just, okay, we can learn. So find out what attracts, for example, we're back to mosquitoes. They are going to be attractive to your perfume, to your deodorant, to something. So be aware of that first before you slather all this stuff on you. I want everybody to get there healthy and not consuming, the wrong things, because skin is protective it's not 100% barrier. It will get through.
Yeah, it's really true. You bring up a good point. We think about what we're eating now, right?
Right.
I remember when I was growing up, we would sit down and have a meal as a family. We were dining. My dad's like, "We're dining. This is going to take hours." Now I always eat by myself, and whatever I'm eating, I'm constantly like, "What's in this? Like, if it's in a package, I don't want it." And I seem to eat less and less, but Mother Nature and menopause just does its cruel thing. But what we're putting on our body also makes a huge difference. So
it does make a huge difference. You want to look like a giraffe? Great. Eat like a giraffe. And we're bringing back we're talking about these wonderful herbivores that are eating the grass and the greens, and they can then poop anywhere they want in their land, because guess what? It's all natural. It's all natural. They're not working with what kind of donut did I eat today, or how much soda did I eat today? And wildlife, the sad part is we're regulating where they are and where they go and how much land we're going to give to them. And that doesn't work very well for helping the earth recover and get better and better and better, because we need all of that. We need the giraffes to defecate on the dirt, and then it gets kicked in and it gets dug up, and that's how plants are surviving with all those nutrients.
Well, question I have for you in reference to the zoo. Let's take the giraffe, for example. I have been to zoos, actually with my mother, where they have the giraffe and you can feed the giraffe carrot or whatever. So we've already talked on other shows that once you start feeding wildlife, their inability to go back into the wild is extremely difficult, because now they've been humanized, so to speak. So what happens to the zoo animals? They just stay there for the rest of their life?
Yeah. And what we know now, and what I love seeing, and I'm really, really thrilled to have been in this industry to watch it change. And I haven't brought this up in a while, but my background is not only my passion, but I want to say I was 11, but I remember at 9 already holding lizards. And I was that girl that was like, no, me, give me the snake. I can't wait. And my fun snake story of, I was working with a group of children, and they were all different ages from, like 7, 9, 8, 12 to 15. And they all swarmed around me because I had gone into one of the tents. And we were at a sleepover camp, and one of the tents had gotten a wild animal. I believe it was a snake, but it was just a regular snake. It wasn't poisonous. And so I wanted the kids to learn from it. So I'm showing it to them. Oh, and this is here, and this is here. And do you see his head is oval, not diamond shaped? Dr. Jacalyn, do you know why I want to know if it's diamond or
Yes, because then it's poisonous, I think.
Yes. You see a diamond head on a snake? Walk slowly away, backwards. So you can keep an eye on it, because I'll tell you, they do have anti-venom in every hospital. But who wants to go through that? No.
What if they do come after you?
They won't, unless you threaten them. Because what we're going to talk about, though, is like rattlers. They've got a rattle on their tail. The point is, they're going to go the little mariachi band of its own. That is a warning, saying, dude, girls, people, child, whoever, you're too close. And they will hold back as long as they feel they can. And you have to remember, animals do not, and I'm talking about wild animals, not the ones domesticated. That's a whole different conversation. They will choose to keep their venom for their prey, and they need dinner or whatever to protect themselves, than this giant human that they know they can't take down. They can make you really sick and really make you some terrible hospital time, but they're not going to bite first. They're going to rattle. They're going to slither away. They're going to make noise, whatever they can, to say, hey, dude, or woman, I'm over here. I don't want to bite you. Now, I have been bitten, but it was by a garter snake. And the second time, I think it was a king snake, but it was really fun. And again, I had a bunch of children around me. They were very excited. I kept saying, please be quiet, please be calm, please be quiet, please be calm. And of course, the snake says, I am so out of here, and start chewing on my hand. And all the kids start screaming, like, what are you going to? And I didn't drop the snake, of course. I just held on and went, just a minute. I need to hand this to the handler. And so I came out of it just fine. It was like getting poked by a bunch of, branches in a tree. It was uncomfortable. And I got the whole rest of the day off from work.
That's a bonus. But I have a question about what you just shared, because, and I don't know if it's just from watching on TV, but you see many times in movies or even these reality TV shows where they have snakes and people end up getting bitten. Is it because they stepped on the snake, or is somehow the snake felt threatened?
Yeah, felt threatened. There you go. I could see where your words were going. If they feel threatened, their go-to is their bite. And that can be the poisonous one. It can be any of them. Now, if you got a restrictor, that's the ones that squish you to death. And, and they do it to their prey. You should see some of these snakes are ginormous, and they can take down a capybara, looks like a little pig gone wrong, and they will coil around them and literally choke them to death until they get it, so they can eat it. And can you imagine how much their mouth has to open? So every animal has a modality to how they feed themselves, is the best way I can act. And with garter snakes and the non-poisonous ones, they have really great teeth. That's how they're getting all that mice and all of those, all the fur ripped off, and they have great teeth. So just don't get bitten by it, but you won't die from it. Their mouth is probably cleaner than ours.
So here's the takeaway, because when you see an animal, like if you see a bear or you see, I know each species is different. Mm-hmm. Your first instinct is, I got to get the heck out of here because I'm in trouble. And I imagine, I just read another story about some guy who was hiking and he got killed by a bear. But how do you stay calm? I know when you're not calm, we give off some kind of, I don't know if it's an
odor. Yeah, that's sweating, because most of us get really sweaty, or we get agitated. What you have to do in your own life is, people meditate, people do yoga, people go to the gym and get the energy burn off. But what I want you to remember, why I bring up the gym, because you're running. Not always. What does happen? I know, Dr. Jacalyn, I think you walk or ride. I don't know if you ever went to the gym, but it seems like you were always really, really busy when I was talking to you, and you had a life. So if you went to the gym and you got nice and tired, do you think you're able to come up with some secret protection, or you're going to run? No, because your body is already tired. Remember that. Take a deep breath, even if it's just lightly done, and let the animal pass. If we're already in attack mode, you can walk backwards slowly so that you can keep their eye. If you think about dogs and cats specifically, most people can see what I'm talking about, I hope, better by using these simple things. But if you have eye contact with an animal that's being aggressive, sometimes worse for people too, you have a better chance of getting out of there without the scratch, without the bite and everything, and you start to move back slowly. But again, the key is, if you're in a bad place as far as you're worried about getting bit, you're worried about tripping, you're at the edge of the cliff, all of these things, what the biggest thing to do first is to pull your anxiety inward and calm. Whatever you got to do to make that calm, and think about butterflies, think about, can't wait to have that brownie that you saved at home, something that calms you down. Because your energy being high, every animal on the planet, much less off the planet, knows that you're anxious about something. So they internalize it many times and go, okay, who are we afraid of? Because her person is afraid. And they don't think about it. They're afraid of me. They're afraid of the snake. They're afraid of the lizard, whatever. They're going to take it as, why is that person, this carnivore, that's how they see us, how come they are upset? What's happening? Am I going to die? Am I going to be hurt? And sadly, with a human being involved, and if they're scared, that animal has less and less time to survive the reaction that will happen. So that's the sad part. And what I'd like to embed in everybody is you have the ability, even when you're scared. Being scared is not bad. It is the way you stay alive, but just don't take lives if you don't have to get out of a situation. Always, I suggest, if you're concerned about the animal jumping on your back and getting you, walk backwards as best you can. Just walk slowly so you don't trip on a rock or anything like that, fall down and scare the animal, and you got a whole nother problem.
Thanks for sharing that. That's really interesting. When it comes to the giraffe, do they have any enemies that they have to worry about?
Oh my gosh, yes. The big cats. The big cats take those things down on a regular basis. It's the same thing as if you go to on here on the stateside, you're going to see coyotes. They're not big. They're not big dogs. Coyotes. They're not. They're quite small, actually. You're going to see the smaller of the other big prey animals in the United States. We don't have elephants here legally. They were brought in. So with that small of an animal, they're going to get out of there, because if they've gone to a pond, I don't remember the story. It's been so long since I thought about it. There was a park where they had a lot of hiking trails and walks, and they put in a water source like a pond, but it was huge. It was absolutely huge. And then they had a bridge that goes over it, but it was also to help feed the wildlife. And somebody thought it was a good idea to drop off one of their alligators that was just a mini, and it had that whole pond, ate all the fish, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. But that's not what you do. You can't dump an animal into a different place and say, oh, you'll be fine, you'll figure it out. Not really. But I also want to empower us to know that you also can back up slowly, so you don't trip, you don't fall, hopefully those types of things. And don't run, because first of all, you're never going to outrun them. Maybe the spiders, but they have strings and everything. But if you've got an aggressive pet, even, because we've all been to places where these dogs are bark, 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 and they can sound really, really terrifying. I've been there. I'm sure all of us have gone to somebody's house, or I've even seen it during Halloween years ago when I would take my kids, and somebody would have a dog. It didn't matter what size the dog is, but they'd come to the door and they bark at everybody. And it really terrified some of the kids. So learn some skills, find out what works for you, because you can't always plan that somebody's going to walk a Great Dane right next to you and you're terrified of that big, tall dog. Actually, you should be really terrified about the little ones. And I don't mean any disrespect for the men in the world, but the saying goes, little man syndrome, those little dogs, they got a lot to say. And if you were this high off the ground, you probably would too.
Yeah, that's so true. It's the little dogs that are the yappers.
Oh my gosh, yes. And the first to bite.
Yes.
You will not see that in the Great Dane, in the Pyrenees, and whatever else goes with that name, the Great Pyrenees. These are ginormous, or the German Shepherds, or any of those. You are not going to see that instant attack on most times, because they're already big enough over you to go, I have teeth and things. I have nails, and you guys are just kind of hairless. And that's how they look at us. They're just like, what's going on here? It's like, sorry, that's all we grow. So know what you're doing, know where you're at. And guess what? I have the cheapest tip for everybody, another dollar store wonder thing you can buy.
Let's hear it.
And it will keep you safe. Dr. Jacalyn, got any idea what a great thing that anybody can have? If they are hikers, walkers, all of this kind of stuff, this could save their life. And you can save some wildlife too.
A
You know what
whistle?
it is? Yes, she's got it.
Hey, I'm on a roll
Yay.
today. A whistle.
Yeah, a whistle. They're simple. Put it around your neck, not your pocket, because you either drop it or it's, it's too, you want something. Let's say a coyote or a mountain lion or whatever comes up during your hike because you're pretty rural. And it's always better to be hiking and going these places with a buddy, with another human buddy. Don't take your pets. Please don't take your pets. You're just asking for that mountain lion and your dog to go into an interlude of, I want to be here, you want to be here. Having a whistle is such a specific pitch that anybody within how many ever yards or feet you can blow this thing will hear you. The worst part is you've tripped, you fall, you broke your ankle, something that stops your mobility, and you haven't trained your dog to go out and get people. And maybe the people that your dog goes to, they're all terrified. They're like, oh my gosh, this crazy dog, and doesn't get the message across. Not the dog's fault. That's again us. A whistle will help in all those situations. And it's really recommended with women who walk alone, like from the parking lot to their home, or a parking lot from work to the parking lot. It's been for years and years, and I haven't heard it talk about, is women should carry a whistle. They can put it on the end of their purse if it's on their shoulder, and poof, there it is. And that's really hard to keep mugging you or bothering you or whatever if you're blowing a big old, noisy whistle at somebody. Dollar store.
That's a good one. That is definitely a good one. I used to have this thing. It was a small device, and you would pull the thing out and go, like it made huge amount of noise. I don't know whatever it did with that, but that makes a lot of sense to have a whistle. Now
it does, because you can't always be with somebody. You and I both go shopping by ourselves. We go to movies by ourselves. We are independent women. We're like, yes, well, you can come. You can sit back 7 chairs. I'm okay with that because I'm going to watch the movie. We're really good. But women need to be aware of, it is really, really a great idea to have a whistle. And you can get jewelry whistles and that still blow and make noise. Whatever makes noise besides screaming, and then they muffle your face or something like that. But a whistle's different. Everybody's like, wait a minute, I'm not in a marching band. Why am I hearing that?
Right.
It's a very specific pitch that whistles do. And it is universally usually something the human ear finds and goes, that's off, that's off.
Right.
That's not a bird, it's not a dog, it's not, and I don't know about you, but being a first responder and all that training and all that CPR and all of that stuff, I'm going to look around and go, wait a minute, that is totally out of character here. We need to go and look and see what's going on. And that's what you want. You're calling for help. But let me caution you, don't do it when you're not needing help. If you stubbed your toe, you might still need help. But go easy on when you blow the whistle. Make sure that this is something you truly need some kind of intervention. Because I have seen people go, oh, well, I don't want to walk across the street, or I want to. No, it's not for selfish reasons. And it's so easy to put in your pocket, put it around your neck, put it in your purse, whatever. I've seen even some of the guys I worked with, we tied it on to our, where your belt loop is, just tie it on.
There you go.
Easy access. Because if it's at the bottom of your purse and then somebody tries to harass you or mug you or whatever, it's too late. You're already knee deep in this, and they've either stolen your purse or something. So you can get whistles that are loud enough, go around your neck. You can put them on your belt loop. You can put it in a side pocket that's really easy, that doesn't have like a zipper necessarily on it, or tie it to your strap of your purse. All of these are great. If you're afraid of a wild animal coming at you and you start blowing that whistle, it works for them too. 90% of the time it works for them too. Now, if they get a lot of whistles, then they're going to go, wait a minute, nothing ever happens here. But you're looking for shock and awe. You can be it a person, an animal, a bad situation. let's say you slip and fall and you cannot walk back on the trail. Guess what that whistle will do? It'll get everybody and their brother going, wait a minute, that is not a wild animal sound. We need to go investigate. Especially if you, God forbid, are injured and don't come back when your family thinks you are. Always tell somebody, I'm going for a hike. I'll be back in an hour. If not, please call and see where I am.
It's very true. Excellent tips. I'm actually going to go and get a whistle myself.
It is so perfect for you and I. We're single women, and we're always doing something, out doing whatever. And you can't open your phone fast enough and say, okay, I can put it on my phone, because I can hear people they're thinking, oh, I'll just put it on my phone. No, you don't have time.
Right.
But how simple is it to make a beautiful this, and they make now whistles pretty too, and they have them at the dollar store too. So you've got whatever finances and whatever fun it is, and you honestly, if you don't want people to know, you can tuck it into the top of your bra. You're good. You have the protection you need. It's subtle. You get to make a judgment, and it gives you time, because you can blow the whistle and tell some crazy person who's standing in front of you doing whatever is inappropriate and say, I can blow this closer if you didn't hear it the first time.
Right. It's very good. It's very good. I want to ask you about the giraffe, because I was doing a little bit of research, and apparently they have excellent eyesight, and they live in groups of up to 20, and they're not territorial, so they can all get along. But when the giraffe looks out and sees something like a lion or something else, and it stares at it, the others in the group that it's traveling in also starts to stare, because it's, I guess it sets the tone, like much like a whistle, that, hey, we've got a problem. We've got to be alert. But I couldn't find anything about their hearing.
Well, their hearing is pretty good in the wild. It's going to be really, really rare. I can't, off the top of my head, I cannot think of any of the animals. Nope, can't think of any that couldn't hear everything that's going on. Every branch that's cracked, every bird that lands in a tree, everybody who caws or scrapes or just announces they're there. Lions are like that. They'll just roar and say, I am the king of here, and I want everybody to know I'm still here. But you need to know where you are and what you're around. And so do wildlife. So do wildlife have to do that. It's really, really important. Giraffes, one of their best, what they're kind of famous for, and you'll see some videos on these, is, do you know what it is, Dr. Jacalyn, where I'm going with this for a body part that their neck? Yeah, that neck.
The neck.
Man, there are all kinds of videos out there of them fighting each other. So you got these ginormous necks, and they're just hitting each other. It looks painful, honestly. I don't know about you. I don't hit anybody with my head. I don't have the neck they have. So you need to know where you are, what you're doing. Just like I always, because I'm an animal science major, I always think back to, what would the dog do? What would the cat do? What would the snake do? What would this do? Because our lives really are entwined on how we react, and how animals react, and how nature reacts to us. So don't think you're out there all by yourself. You definitely aren't. And have the necessities. If you are walking around and you're going to be out there and you're taking your cell phone with you, that's great. But what if you stay longer, or your phone isn't charged? They have external chargers. Always, 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 especially if you're going to be alone. Wildlife doesn't know the difference. They see you're the carnivore. They're going to protect their young. They're going to protect their family. So don't ever be that person. And you can scare off a few coyotes and a few other things with a whistle. But also remember, possibly don't wear perfume. That can attract the wrong mosquitoes, much less the wrong bugs. But it also trails you everywhere you go. So if they need to find you with a guide dog or with a rescue dog, that's another conversation. But it's usually a problem when you're in wildlife, especially if you have mosquitoes. They're really going to be attracted to certain things. Now, there's a baby oil that Avon used to, I don't know if they still do, with their Skin So Soft, and the mosquitoes hate that stuff. But you're going to get a lot of other bugs that are like, ooh, are you a flower? Are you a person? And you don't really need that attraction either. So do your homework. Figure out what works for your skin, your life, and where you are going to have contact with any of these types of animals.
Absolutely. I'm definitely getting a whistle. That was another, seriously, a really good suggestion, because I do a lot of walking by myself, and I always think, oh, you just never know. So
no, and you can't tap that hard. And nobody, I don't know if everybody realized, you're not a huge, tall, giant woman. So it's just like, okay, you're going to kick her with your heels. No, hopefully you're walking in tennis shoes and not killing your feet. But people don't realize, even men, and there's nothing wrong with even children having those things and empowering each other and saying, you can take care of yourself. You do have the right to walk at sunset. I was terrible about it because my kid's dad would come home from work and I'd go, I just have to go get some air. I just got to go up for a walk. And he's like, it's dark outside. I need some air.
Right. It's normal.
Right. It's a person thing. We need that space. So we don't do it because we're afraid every 2 seconds that the creepy guy is going to walk through the neighborhood. And you and I both know, when you live in a really upper scale neighborhood, or the houses are all cared for and all that, sometimes I think we're in more danger than if you go to the ghetto. And I've been on I don't know if you know what was it called in Los Angeles? I just ran out of Skid Row.
Mm-hmm.
You ever hear about that? Yeah. I walked down there with my cousin, and it was heartbreaking. Just the nobody had food and everybody was sleeping on the ground, and the cities are doing much better. But for any of us, especially women, we shouldn't have to have a rear view mirror everywhere we're going. But that's how you save your life, is knowing where you are, what's around you, and have some great necklace thing, have your grandchild or something make you a beaded one, and add a whistle. Mm-hmm. It's really that easy.
Yes. Fabulous. Well,
and it's okay with wildlife. I want to tie this in. It's great. It'll startle them too.
Excellent. Excellent. As we come to the end of the show, I really want to focus now on the 175 episodes, because that's a long time. And I would just like you to think back to the beginning, and maybe, we're on a journey together, and people want to do things, but they feel they're going to fail, or they're afraid. So can you share some positives about this journey and this experience, and to motivate others?
Everybody, honestly, everybody, even if they keep it a secret, we skip or trip, or we fall, or we think we're not good enough for it. But if you don't go out there, nothing else changes. So I want to really encourage everybody to be brave. And if you need that support, surround yourself with people that will build you up. This is why I think I work with people my whole life. I'm the youngest of 4 siblings with my parents. My dad had a huge family. My mom, just one brother. So it was a great dynamic to learn about how to fit in. But I was always different. I was the one talking to the animals, which I didn't tell my siblings about because everybody looked at me funny. You can do this, whatever this is in this lifetime. Just make sure that you have the wherewithal to bring up your own worth. You also have the right to have a happy life and to be safe in wherever you're going. So that's really, giraffes know how to beat somebody out with their neck, and they're fabulous animals, but they also coexist with tigers and lions. I don't think there's any bears over there, but how do they get through? Well, they can surely knock them around, but when like coyotes and other animals are in packs, think about what would you do to have the strength to say, no, this is not happening, and put in those safety things. So you can go to the grocery store with certainty that you're going to come back. I know people, I've had friends that never shopped alone, never went to the mailbox alone because they were afraid. It's not wrong. It's just something you need support for. So please, please ask for that support with the loved ones, hopefully, and the good friends that you are making, so you too can have a really great, well-rounded existence, much less a life. For me, we didn't set out to have 3 or 4 cats, but we rescued all of them, either from the pound before they were put down, and or when we had 2 friends that could no longer take the cats they had. And one of them was from my daughter, who ended up in Spain during the pandemic. So life happens no matter what. I hope you'll see the lining is whatever, candy, cotton candy, happiness. It's a struggle sometimes. Take that deep breath, put on a good movie, put on a good CD, whatever works for you. And you'll have tomorrow. God willing, you'll have tomorrow to do it again and do it better.
And watch our shows. And by the way,
Really?
for people who are watching, maybe not on the live, but on the replay, we have now added a whole selection of inexpensive whistle necklaces that you can actually order while you're watching the show. YouTube lets you do that. So
That's
whistle
neat.
away while you're watching the show.
There you go. And everybody in your neighborhood will go, oh man, she's watching that show again. Because some of those whistles the point is it has a really high pitch. So you can hear it for many, many, many blocks.
Right. So you get ringing in your ear even.
Well,
So.
Exactly. Well, for you and I specifically, we know as women, we need to know what's around us, where it is. We both, I think you're still walking, it sounds like, and I'm still walking as much as we can. But it is also about having that confidence and saying, no, you stay over there. I'm going to walk here. And what I did on one emergency I had, because my family was gone, I went to my next door neighbors, about 3 houses down, knocked on their door and said, hey, I need a safe place to be. And they took me in for the rest of that night until my family came home. And it was scary. It was scary. I was locked out of the house, and then I got somebody following me, and I just went and luckily they had daughters, which I knew, but I didn't know these people. They lived, 4 houses down from me and at an angle. Don't be afraid to ask for help. We really, really, I hope as a population, I hope we're all there for somebody else and can save lives that way also. And our pets, the same thing. If you got a pet running around, you don't know where it is, and you haven't found the owner, shelter is the next thing. It's better than being hit by a car. Because I don't know about you, Dr. Jacalyn, if I'm going to hit an animal, I'm going to be crying for months and months. That would just kill me.
Heartbreaking for sure.
Yeah. So keep your pets with a license on it, with a name and a phone number. Because I don't know about you, I don't keep a little, the thing that goes over their chip that the shelters have. I don't know about you. I don't carry one of those. I don't even own one of those.
I don't have any pets anymore, so.
Right, exactly. I got 3 cats that are indoors full time, but they are all chipped because we adopted them from a shelter that got them all chipped. But you have to keep up on that. You got to put it out there. Oh, yeah.
But it's a smart thing if you care about it, part of your family.
It is.
So how can people reach out to you, and who's a good client for you?
Anybody who's open-minded. I am definitely the outside the box girl. I want to meet you where you're at. I'm going to make suggestions. I'm going to make recommendations for the relationship between you and your pet. Not the one I think you should have. I don't make any of those judgments. I've always talked about one of my close neighbors drank beer like it was water. And yet when he had problems, we still worked it out. It doesn't matter. as long as you come in open to the idea that your animal might say something and have me translate and tell you, but I always will tell you, I won't keep it from you. But I might preface it and say, okay, we are at end of life. I get a lot of questions, a lot of clients who are at that point where it's like, do I put them down or not? And that's an individual decision between you and your pet that I just facilitate for. And I'm a trainer, so I try to give you as many free tips as possible so that you are now in control of your family on whatever furry level you need or want.
And the best way to get in touch with you is Bridging Worlds.
Bridgingworlds.us.
And also Facebook and LinkedIn.
Absolutely. And in these, I don't, Facebook and LinkedIn don't get the messages out in a big way. So if I don't go hunt those down, so if I missed anybody's message, let me apologize now. It is better to go to Bridging Worlds and just send me a message through there, because that one I get immediately. But the others I've found, they get lost in the social media part. So be careful if you leave me a message there. I usually don't see them very soon.
Fantastic. And I want to add on to that, which is I really want to apologize for people who have been watching our shows for the last 3 years. There were a number of comments over on YouTube that we never even commented back. So now we've gone and we've commented back all the way back to 3 years ago. But there were a lot of them for this show as well. People who had lost pets, or they were watching, or they liked what we were talking about. So that was really heartwarming.
Well, and always let me know. I'd be glad to reach out to them and just, give them 15 minutes. I would rather help you. I'm the worst business person on the planet with I truly believe God's going to help, but I'd rather help. Especially I talk to dead people, and so it's even easier with pets, because they drop all of that worldly stuff, everything we expect, right, and they're far more, oh, hey, this is great. I'm not hungry. I'm not, needing to have my poop yelled at about it because I pooped in the wrong place. Food is good. So please remember that when we do lose people and our animals, hopefully they're in a better place.
Amen to that.
Absolutely.
And we are signing off now. Our next show is coming up. It's royal breaking news from London. So
Yay.
Thank you all for being here. And again, we are celebrating 175 episodes. So Amin, I hope you go and do something very special for yourself today.
Very cool. It's a beautiful day here in sunny California. But it's been horrible wind. And today I don't see all the trees doing this. So you're right. Time to go out and get some fabulous California air.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for watching for 175 episodes, and we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.